All right, this is it. My name's Jeff K, and you're listening to episode 290 of the world-famous West Virginia Surf Report podcast.
Hello, world.
And we're back, broadcasting once again from deep underneath a nondescript home in suburban Pennsylvania. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for streaming and all that jazz. Hope you guys are doing well. It's a beautiful day. Oh my God, it could be. It's like tailor-made. It's like something out of a storybook. There's a little bit of fall in the air, but it's not cold. It's just a little bit of crispness, and that gives me hope. There have been some ducks flying over. I don't know if they're ducks. I don't think they're ducks. I don't know why I keep calling them what are they, geese? I don't know what the hell. Anyway, they have. I've heard them. I haven't actually seen them. I've heard the you know, all that shit. I've heard it, so that's a good sign. It feels like fall is right around the corner, right. It's coming, and it feels great outside, and I love it. I love this kind of this time of year when it goes from just oppressive, demoralizing, just grinds you into the ground, heat and humidity, and everything's just hazy, and it's just a terrible, terrible time of year. And then suddenly, bam, everything's clear. There's no haze. The haze is gone. There's a crispness in the air. It's a relief, and it's wonderful. My favorite time of year. I've ranked the seasons many times. I made some adjustments recently. For years, it was fall, spring, winter, summer. Okay, that was what it was for decades, right? Recently, I've adjusted that. I've made some adjustments to my list. Now it's fall, spring, summer, winter. Now winter is at the bottom of my list. You know why? Because it sucks. It's no good, you know? I don't like hot weather, and that's why I did it that way. And so the hot, I don't like the extremes, which puts summer and winter at the bottom, and I like the cool better than the hot. So that's why I did it that way. But I can't stand the winter because of the constant snow and ice. I work 40 miles from here, and I don't want to have to worry about that. Even when it's not doing anything, there's the constant concern about it. I'm not driving down there anyway. So anyway, that's my ranking. All right, I don't want to get controversial right out of the gate here, and I don't want to make people full of fury. But that's the way I rank them: fall, spring, summer, winter. Winter's at the bottom. Are you with me on this? I need to know. All right. So tomorrow in the morning, as I record this, I'm driving to West Virginia. This thing sneaked up on me. I'm like, suddenly I'm like, oh my God, that trip, like I did last time, and then I got canceled. So this one, the last time I tried to go down there to the Motherland, it got canceled because of work. This time it's going to happen, I think, unless something happens today, which, anything's possible. But tomorrow, me and the older boy are going to head on down to West Virginia, good old West Virginia, the Motherland, and visit my parents for a few days. We're leaving on Thursday morning. We're coming back on Sunday morning. It's a long, long drive, and I don't look forward to the drive. And I don't know what we're going. It seems like it's a packed. I mean, they got all kinds of stuff planned. Well, some of it's some my doings. I want to take the older boy to Budget Tapes and Records. I don't think he's ever been there. It's my old stomping ground. I mean, it's not really a record store anymore. They call themselves a lifestyle emporium. That means they have all kinds of crap in there. They have a bunch of clothing and like ladies' clothing in there, which obviously doesn't have any, that's not really in my wheelhouse. They also have a lot of, bongs and that kind of stuff, like paraphernalia for the marijuana folk. Also not in my wheelhouse. And then they have a section in there of adult stuff, or like basically like dildos and things like things along those lines, like a lot of stuff like that. Maybe like a fleshlight, I don't know. I'm sure they have. Also, I'm not going to be going in there. I'm not going to be buying anything in that section. That shit's never going to happen. So there's a lot of it that doesn't really pertain to me. They do have some records, though, and they have some CDs. And they have, some, I don't know, they have doodads, like magazines, like rock magazines, and they, So there's a little bit. You can go, I just want to take him in there because that's where I used to, back when it was a real record store, back in the late 70s into the 80s, I lived in that place. I was in there all the time, literally like 4 days a week sometimes. And there's a guy that works there. He used to work there back when I was going in there. Still there. He's like running the place now. So anyway, I want to take him down there, and I want to go. I want to go to Hillbilly Hot Dogs. That's I haven't been there in a long time. Place is fantastic. I'll post photographs on the gram, on the Instagram. That's what we call it when to us folks in the know, we call it the gram. I've never heard that before in my life. Anyway, so I'll post if you want to check out Instagram, my Instagram. I'll post some pictures, but and there's some other stuff. I don't know. There's like some kind of my dad said there's like some kind of Dunbar Fall Festival. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, it's going to be a quickie visit. It's going to be in and out. My dad's stressing out. If it was just me, he wouldn't be so stressed out. But whenever the kids are involved, they're like stressed. They're like, oh my God, we have to make sure that they have every food that they like. We have to have everything planned out. We can't allow them to get bored. They just like get all up in their head. I said, don't worry about it. God. And he goes, because when I get there, every time my dad makes me a hot bologna, West Virginia round steak, a hot bologna sandwich, which is a West Virginia delicacy. It's a thick slice of bologna, right? Cooked or heated, and not really. It's not fried or anything, but it's cooked in a barbecue sauce of some sort. Various people have different recipes. Some people make it real hot, like spicy, I don't like it that super hot, but, it's cooked in some kind of, it's heated up in some kind of a barbecue sauce concoction. And then you put it on these, the big buns, like the big deli buns with whatever you want on it. Lettuce, tomato, and it's good. And you can get those in restaurants, or not restaurants, but you can like a Dairy Queen or something, those kind of places, or you can go into pool rooms or beer joints or something. You know what I mean? Those kind of places, little diners, little mom and pop diners. They all have hot bologna in West Virginia. So anyway, so he was like, "Will he eat hot bologna?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "Well, if he won't, he can go to frickin' Hardee's or something. I don't know." I mean, they're like, no. I said, don't worry about it. God. I said, if he doesn't want to eat the hot bologna, then, he can have something, make him a ham sandwich or something. God. And they're like all stressed about it, which is the way they do things. They're like, you like lemon pie, right? I'm like, what the? Yes, it's established for the last 50 years. For 50 years, I'm a big fan of the lemon meringue pie, okay? I don't understand why every time I go down there, they have to confirm it. For 50 years, it's well known, it's established that I'm a big fan of lemon meringue pie, right? And every time I go down there, now, I just want to make sure, you do like lemon pie, right? Anyway, they're making themselves crazy. If it was just me, it wouldn't be like this. I mean, I'm not saying they wouldn't give two shits about it, but it would be way de-escalated. The fact that the boy is involved, that puts added pressure on him. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We're driving tomorrow. It's a long, long, long drive. It's a soul crusher. But then we'll be there Friday, Saturday, and then we'll leave to come back home Sunday morning. And that'll be good. It'll be quick. There's a lot packed in. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. You'll get a full report when I get back. So we're doing that tomorrow. And Zip is going to turn this around real fast for us so I can get this thing posted before I go home, or before I go home. Yeah, Tony and I used to get in arguments about that. I used to call, or I still do, I call West Virginia home, and she goes, "That's not your home." I said, "Yes, it is." She goes, "Your home is where your family lives." I said, "Your home is where you grew up." She goes, "No." We get in this not a big argument. We're going back and forth on it, What do you think about that? You with me? I mean, when I go home, that's West Virginia. That's always going to be West Virginia. I told you, I've been living here almost as long as I lived there, which is bizarre to me because it feels like I haven't been here that long. And it feels like I was in West Virginia for a long, long time. That's no reflection on West Virginia. It's just that I was young, and time moved way slower. And now it just clips by. Just cranks by on an accelerated clip. So anyway, we're doing that tomorrow. Let's see. In my notes here, I got. I have 3 calls that came in on the hotline. We'll get to those in a few. But I had a couple things I wanted to talk about first. Did you see this story? I don't usually do current events. This is a little off the wall though. Did you see this story about this? They're having some kind of big chess tournament in St. Louis, which just seems bizarre. When you think about it, some kind of giant international chess tournament. You don't really think of St. Louis. At least I don't. What do I know about it? I don't know anything about it. But first of all, right out of the gate, I'm like, St. Louis? What the? But anyway, it's this big, giant international chess tournament. And I guess there's this guy who's the undisputed, supposedly the best chess player ever in the world. Something. I don't know. He's the top dog in the chess world. He gets knocked out of the tournament early, in early rounds, by this guy who has a reputation for cheating. Supposedly he's banned for life from chess.com. I don't know what the hell, because for cheating. He's a known chess cheater, right? So he beats him in the early rounds, the best chess player in the world, and everybody thinks he was cheating somehow. And this is the theory. You ready for this? These matches are supposedly televised live, so it'd be hard to cheat. I don't know who watches chess on TV. I don't know what channel this is, but anyway, supposedly it's broadcast live, so it'd be hard to cheat at chess, right? All right, the theory is this guy's wearing vibrating socks. Have you heard about this? He's wearing vibrating socks, and somebody's watching, one of his accomplices. The grandmaster, when the grandmaster makes a move, they crunch it, they put it into some kind of computer program, and they run all the scenarios, and then they quickly tell him what the perfect counter move would be communicating to him through his vibrating socks. Did you hear about this? They think that that's what he's doing. They think he's wearing vibrating socks, and he's got accomplices communicating to him through his socks. I was like, what the? I mean, this is insane. I mean, if this is true, this is like the greatest thing. They need to make a movie out of this, you know? But anyway, I guess it's a big controversy, and the guy's like, I will do a rematch completely nude. What do you think about that? He'll probably have some kind of like vibrating bulb up his ass or something. I don't know how he would do it. Like the chair would vibrate or something. I don't know. He'd probably have some kind of like, you know, like some kind of a, I don't know, something to do with his. I mean, I don't. There'd probably still be a way to do it. The guy's sitting there naked. I mean, I don't know. The whole thing's like spiraled down. The guy left. The Grandmaster stormed out in fury, you know, and left the country. I guess he left St. Louis, that hotbed of chess activity. I mean, that's the center of the world. When it comes to chess, St. Louis, Missouri is where it's all about. I don't like when people put the state on there. I know this woman, who was like, I'm getting ready to fly down to Atlanta, Georgia. I'm like, I don't think you need to put the Georgia on there. I mean, that's not necessary. I think people know. I mean, there might be other Atlantas, but they pale in stature to the one in Georgia. I mean, there might be an Atlanta, Arkansas, or there might be an Atlanta, New Mexico. I don't know. But, you know, I mean, it's you know, you can say those states. When you're saying the one in Georgia, you know, you can just say Atlanta. You don't need to put that. But if you are talking about, you know, Atlanta, Montana, I used to love that show, Atlanta, Montana. If you're talking about Atlanta, Montana, then you can say that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, tangent. So anyway, that hotbed of activity, I mean, the center of the chess universe, St. Louis, Missouri, right? Not St. Louis, Vermont. All right. You know what I'm saying. So the vibrating socks, I don't know. Maybe he should have had his underwear vibrating. I don't know. Then he might get aroused or something. And then it causes other complications. I don't know. I'm overthinking this thing. Or maybe not thinking about it enough. That's probably more likely. The other story, the breaking news, yesterday I read this article. It was great. It was about King Charles, the newly crowned, I don't know if he's been crowned, but he's official, King of England, Charles, you know, the former Prince Charles, the artist formerly known as Prince Charles. He has a reputation for being just like a pampered, you know, little Lord Fauntleroy, you know, demands everything, very demanding, very fussy, you know, one of these guys, kind of like a diva, you know, sort of like what you would think, I don't know, you know, one of those, I don't know, I can't think of anybody, but you know, like those singers, you know, those singers, those female singers that sound like a car alarm going off, you know. One of those. There's many of them. Celine Dion, that kind of thing. When they start singing, it just sounds like there's some kind of air raid. Maybe like the Chinese are finally coming in and invading the U.S. or something. It's sort of like that. So this guy has all these demands, and there's this great article in the New York Post. I'll link to it. It's fantastic, where it has some of his demands. It says his pajamas, is it pajamas or pajamas? Pajamas are pressed every morning. His shoelaces are pressed flat with an iron. He demands that his shoestrings, be ironed. I've never even heard of such a thing. And here I've been walking around with these wrinkly laces for all my life. I didn't even think about it. I didn't know you could iron shoelaces or shoestrings. What the? I mean, you talk about All right, so he demands that his shoelaces are pressed flat with an iron. The bath plug has to be in a certain position. The bath plug? What the hell is this? Has to be in a certain position, and the water temperature has to be tepid. That's the phrase. That's the word. Has to be tepid. And it has to be, the tub has to be only half full. Who takes a bath? That's disgusting. Sitting like submerged in a bowl of your own ass, ass broth. That's gross. But I guess he takes a bath. All right, and it has to be tepid, and all this, and the bath plug has to be in a certain position always. And also, one of his valet, which they pronounce valet on Downton Abbey, which I don't know. I mean, we say valet. I guess over there they call it valet. The king has his valet squeeze 1 inch of toothpaste onto his toothbrush every morning. So he doesn't even put his own toothpaste on his toothbrush. Perhaps it's too taxing. I don't know. I don't know what the reason is, but he doesn't want to deal with it. He wants somebody else to deal with it. Somebody else, his valet, is squeeze 1 inch of toothpaste onto his toothbrush every morning. All right. He also travels with a, quote, breakfast box that has all his favorite stuff in it, including 6 different very specific types of honey. He travels with this all wherever he goes because he's very very particular. 6 different types of very specific types of honey. Some special mueslis. What the? And his dried fruit and anything that's a bit special that he is a bit fussy about. Sounds like everything. Sounds like he's fussy about everything. He also insists his cheese and biscuits be warmed at a certain temperature at the end of meals, and makes his staff keep a warming tray nearby since he's particular about everything. All right, so he travels with his breakfast box, right? That has all his honeys in it. What the? And his shoestrings are like, how dare you allow me to go out with these wrinkled shoestrings, And where's my mueslis, right? Anyway, and so then, let's see what else. Travels with his own pictures and all this stuff. And, here's my favorite. He reportedly travels with his own toilet seat. He brings his own toilet seat with him. I guess he has his staff install it, swap out the other toilet seat that's there already, install his own toilet seat, and brings his own special brand of toilet paper, which is called Kleenex Velvet. What the hell's this? I've never seen this. What is Kleenex Velvet? So I don't know. This guy's running wide open. This King Charles, the one with the ears, as one of my coworkers called him. Is that the one with the ears? Anyway, he travels with his own toilet seat. He I guess he wipes his ass with Kleenex Velvet and nothing else. Nothing else. He has his shoestrings ironed every day. He has a breakfast box with his honeys in it. His bathtub plug has to be in a certain position, and the water has to be tepid. What the hell? I'd like to see this guy, I'd like to see this guy, like if you would just parachute him into I don't know, 1980 Dunbar, West Virginia, stick him in the real world. I see how these demands, would go over in the world I lived in. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I found that to be hilarious. All right, that's what I had on my list here. I got 3 calls, which I appreciate. I made a call out. I said, we need more calls. And then 3 folks called in, which is fantastic. I urge all of you to do that. The number, 570-290-8151. That's the number to call in. So give us a call. This first one is from Steve in Dallas, and here it is.
Hey, Jeff. Steve in Dallas, Texas. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Hey, I got a couple questions for you. First, though, I want to thank you for introducing me to Phil Hendrie. I learned about you back when you had a website where you compared reality versus advertising on fast food. That'll probably give you a date of when I first encountered you. And then I started following you, and I learned about Phil Hendrie, and it changed my life. And I've since influenced many people into checking out Phil Hendrie. My question for you is, let's say you're on a desert island and all you're going to have to listen to is 3 Phil Hendrie characters for the rest of your life. What are yours? I don't want to bias you by telling you mine, so I might call back. So that's my question. And then I guess my other question for you is, at the end, when you repeat your number, you say, repeat. What is that a reference to? It seems to me like that's an inside joke or a callback to something from before. But thanks, Jeff, and keep up the great work. Bye.
All right, thank you. Thanks for calling in, Steve. Phil Hendrie, yes. Oh, wait a minute. Ads versus reality. That's where you happened into the Surf Report universe. Yeah, that thing was great. Man, I had a good run with that. You know, it was in Rolling Stone magazine. It had a good run. What I would do is I would take an ad of fast food, like burgers and stuff, and I would compare the ad versus, I'd go out and buy like a Big Mac, for instance. I'd take a Big Mac, a picture of a Big Mac from an ad, from a McDonald's ad, and then I would go buy a Big Mac and I would take a picture of it, try to take the picture from the same angle, and I would compare the two, and it became like this mini phenomenon. Ads versus reality is what it was called. And I even bought just recently I bought that domain name. It took me years to get it, and I haven't used it for anything, but I own it. Anyway, I'm glad you made your way to us, Steve. Phil Hendrie, genius. Man, I don't throw that word around much, but that guy's a genius. He had a radio show. It was nationally syndicated. Well, first it was local in L.A., and then it became syndicated, and it was great. I mean, it's like one of the wildest. And when I tell people about it, they think it's hokey, or it sounds kind of hokey. But Phil is the host of the show, and then he has guests on who are also him. He also does the voices of the guests, right? And it's they're recurring characters. Like he'll have the same people on. There's a whole bunch of them. I mean, it's not just like a few. He has a whole busload of characters that he has on there all the time. It's always some outrageous situation they're talking about. People call in. The thing was nationally syndicated, so there's people all around the country listening to this thing. They don't know it's fake because it sounds real. And they call in, they're outraged. He gets people whipped up. Oh, it's hilarious. And he interacts with the callers as the character. Oh, it's like literally the funniest. I can remember being out there when I lived in California, I was driving towards LAX on the 405, and I was listening to him, listening to Phil Hendrie show, and I started laughing so hard that I literally got lightheaded and I almost passed out behind the wheel. That's not an exaggeration. He is like just a genius of comedy. I'm not even kidding. Phil Hendrie is his name. I'll link to his website too. But I'm glad you enjoy him, Steve, as much as I do, and that you're passing on the word. It's awesome. You ask me about 3 characters. If I was on a desert island and I could only listen to 3 Phil Hendrie characters for the rest of my life, all right. First of all, it would have to be. I mean, there's a bunch of them. Like if I only choose 3, I mean, there's going to be a lot of great people left behind, you know. But my favorite, probably, the one that I love consistently, well, there's two that I love all the time, almost, is Lloyd Bonafide, Korean War veteran, perpetually pissed off, just full of rage, always got some kind of grievance. Hilarious. I love that guy, Lloyd Bonafide. Second, Steve Bozell. He's the guy who's always filing a lawsuit, some kind of lawsuit against somebody for humiliating him in some way. Usually it's some kind of humiliation situation. You know, he's got his lawyer Dolores Blasingame. He's always mentioned. She's never been on the show. He's just always referencing. You know, I've been talking to my lawyer Dolores Blasingame about we're going to bring a lawsuit, and it's always some ridiculous thing, and he gets real emotional. He starts crying and stuff. I mean, it is hilarious. There's this one episode. I mean, he's a big goofball. He owns some kind of construction company, but he's like a goofball, and he gets himself in these situations, and people laugh at him, and then he wants to bring a lawsuit. One of my favorites is he said he was in Olive Garden, dressed in Western wear, right? He was dressed in Western wear, just as a fashion. That's just, he said it was in fashion, which I don't know if that's true or not. But so he was in Olive Garden, dressed in Western wear. He went to the men's room, and when he came back, he had toilet paper. He had toilet paper stuck to one of his spurs, right? And people were laughing at him. And, you know, he wanted to sue everybody in his family. He wanted to sue his kids, you know, all this stuff. That's the kind of stuff that is just, I mean, there's 100 of them where he's always wanting to sue people. Like one time he was eating I'm going to start talking about Phil Hendrie for the rest of it. But one time his wife went to some kind of like bachelorette party, and she had these popsicles shaped like a penis in his freezer, and he was finished mowing the lawn, and he grabbed one of those things. He was standing out in his backyard eating this penis-shaped popsicle, and his neighbor, what is his name, Pettigrew or something? I can't remember. His last name's Pettigrew, I think. His neighbor was over there, you know, making comments about it. He said he had the thing in his mouth all the way to the balls. I don't know, the things. I mean, it's just like there's hundreds and hundreds of these things. Hilarious. Genius. So I'm going Lloyd Bonafide. I'm going Steve Bozell. Both those guys kill me. And the third one, I'm going to get, this one's a little bit more obscure, but he's freaking hilarious. Herb Sewell. All right. He is a convicted child molester. Spent a lot of time in in some kind of psychiatric prison for molesting. It's a little dark, but that guy kills me too. And he kind of like, you know, he and Phil go back and forth, and people call in, they're like, they can't believe it. But anyway, it's funnier than the way I make it sound. This guy's like crazy. Herb Sewell. I remember he told this story about shoving his wife out of his car while they're going down the Grapevine, which is a highway in L.A. He said she just kept talking and talking and talking, so he just reached over and like kicked her door over, like pushed her door open on the passenger side of her car and just shoved her out. And he said as she was falling backwards, her jaws continued to move. She was continuing to talk as she fell backwards out of a moving car going down the Grapevine. Anyway. So, I don't know, I didn't mean to do 10 minutes on Phil Hendrie, but I love the guy. I have hundreds and hundreds of hours of Phil Hendrie recordings on an external hard drive, and actually I moved them over into Dropbox so that, you know, they're safe. I love that guy. I'm glad you're enjoying him too, Steve. I'll link to the Phil Hendrie website in the show notes. You can't go wrong. That guy is great. So So thanks for calling, Steve. That's a great question. And that thing, that inside joke thing, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean. Where you say when I'm given the telephone number? Is it are you talking about when I go, again? I'm just saying the word again. Like I'm saying it twice, 570-290-8151. Again? 570. That's all. I don't know. Unless it's something else. I don't really understand the question. But anyway, thanks for calling, Steve. I appreciate it. I want to hear your 3 characters. Call back and let me know. I'd like to know. I'm curious. And the next call is from Chris in Atlanta. And here it is.
Hey, Jeff. This is Chris from Atlanta. Just wanted to call and touch on that latest episode where you're talking about Schlitz beer. If I remember correctly, when I was a child in the 70s, the ads used to say, go for the gusto, something like that. And even back then I remember thinking, what the hell is gusto and how do I obtain gusto? Do I have to drink the beer to get the gusto? But anyway, yes, they still make Schlitz. Being that you lived in Atlanta, you probably remember Taco Mac. Got 1,000 beers or some such. One of them that I had last year was the Schlitz, and I can't say it was that great. It was okay, but it tastes kind of sweet. But so they do still have it. It's still available. And not widely, I'm sure, but you can get it at Taco Mac in Atlanta. Anyway, I appreciate your podcast. I've been listening to it for about a year. I've been reading the blog for many, many years and just been in the podcast for about a year. And you're doing a great job, and I love listening to it every week. Thanks, man. See you.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Taco Mac. I forgot about that place. There was one of those. There's several of them around the city, as I recall. There was one in Virginia Highland, and it was like open face, like you open the front, and like a garage door that they lifted up, and you could just the whole front of the bar is open, I believe, and there's you just sit there at, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but the whole bar is just open to the elements, and that's right. They had 1,000 beers. It was it was all in bottles and cans and stuff. I'm sure they have some on tap. I don't remember, but I remember that was their thing, and they had every beer that you could think of, and they had a gigantic list. They had some kind of punch card thing. Back when I lived there, you were supposed to try different kinds of beers, and then you get a free one or something. I don't remember the details, but Taco Mac, I totally forgot about that place. It's still around, I guess. That's cool. Schlitz beer. I'd love to have one. I'd love to try one of those. So next time I'm in Atlanta, I'm gonna look for it when I'm in West Virginia. I'm gonna see if I can find some. It's got to be around. I think like you say, I think they're still making it, but it's just real obscure. You can't find it anywhere. But and that go for the gusto. You're right. I knew the word gusto was involved in their ads. That's right. That's what it was. Go for the gusto. They had some kind of weird ad campaign I read about. Said it turned people off. I don't think it was that part of it. There was something about it though, where the people were being kind of shitty or something. I'd read more about it. But anyway, they made a lot of mistakes in the 70s. Apparently, I did some research on the Schlitz. And I guess they made a lot of mistakes in the 70s, basically just knocked themselves out of the top tier of beer makers into an obscure, basically almost went out of business, I mean, I'm going to be on the lookout. If I see a Schlitz anywhere, I'm going to buy a 6-pack of it, and I'm going to drink it. I'm sure it's not very good, but I want to drink the 60s, the old 60s recipe, which is I guess what they're making now. They scrapped that 70s version, which is part of their demise, and went back and they're brewing the 60s and before recipe, the original, the one where they had all the success with. But anyway, that's cool. I want to go to Taco Mac. I got this hankering now to go to Taco Mac. Man, I had to bring him back some memories, Chris. Thanks for calling. I appreciate that. And I will be on the lookout for, I'm going to be down south. I'm going to be down in Myrtle Beach. I'm going to be on the lookout for Schlitz. I mean, I have my, some people, they have their projects. I have mine, I'm going to be on the lookout for Schlitz. All right. Thanks, Chris. This next call is from Patrick, and here it is.
Hey, Jeff, this is Patrick here. I'd like to chime in on a couple of things. First, you mentioned TikTok. I recently got it. I'm about halfway on it. It's a tremendous waste of time. And yeah, the dances are fucking stupid. And yeah, everybody's got, kind of, put out their political opinion. You see some dude sitting in a truck with his Oakleys. No, I'm fucking scrolling right past that shit. No, you haven't, But there is a lot of funny shit on there. There's some really funny videos that I think maybe just your sense of humor out there. I really think you would like it if you get a chance. But man, it's just like a Neil Young discography box set. You got to scroll through a lot of bullshit to get to something good. But another thing, there's a guy in my neighborhood when I was a kid, used to work on old British sports cars, and every time I go over there, he was always smoking a Marlboro and drinking Old Milwaukee. And so he was telling me that, here in Memphis back in the 60s and 70s, there was a Schlitz brewery, and he worked at the brewery. And, of course, yeah, they, like you said, they changed a bunch of stuff, and they closed it down. But he told me he drank Old Milwaukee because he said it tastes exactly like the old recipe for Schlitz did. So if you're interested in that, find you some Old Milwaukee if you want to find out what the old recipe for Schlitz tastes like. And the last thing was prank calls. Yeah, or crank calls, however you want to say it. Man, that was one of my pastimes back in junior high. And here we had a Ted Nugent in our phone book here. And man, we used to light that guy up so bad. And one time, the one that comes to mind is the guy, when he got him so wound up, he was yelling into the phone going, "Ted Nugent, the rock star, does not live here." And our friend Billy said, "Man, I don't know why you're so mad. I just want some damn Yankees tickets." And yeah, that was always a lot of fun. But yeah, you can't caller ID. You can't do that anymore. Anyway, Jeff, keep it up. See you on the show. Bye.
TikTok, huh? I don't know. I mean, I told you I took that class, that Six Sigma. I took that Six Sigma class, and the guy who ran that thing was always talking about TikTok all the time, about how great it is. I'm like, I don't know about that, I don't know. But I hear people say that it's hilarious. I see people sitting in the break room at work just like laughing at tears rolling down their face. I'm like, what the? So I don't know. I'm very. It's gonna take a lot to get me to download that thing. Tell you the truth, I don't doubt there's some funny stuff on there because there's some funny people out there. But like you say, it's like a Neil Young discography. That's a great analogy. You got to scroll through. There's some stuff that's questionable. So I don't know about that. I don't know about TikTok, but I know I keep hearing people say that it's worthy. It's worth it. I don't know. We'll, as I sit here right now, not going to happen. But tomorrow I might change my mind. I don't know. I might end up being like the biggest TikTok fan in the North America. I don't know. Stay tuned. But and you're calling about Schlitz too? Yeah. I like your story about the guy who used to work in the Schlitz and he drinks Old Milwaukee. Says it tastes exactly like. I'll test that out. I don't think I've had an Old Milwaukee since probably the 80s. Since I left West Virginia. I don't think I've had one of those things. I remember this friend of mine, Vincent, was his name. There was back when we were in high school and right after. He went. There was this club there, this bar. Well, it was a club called Galaxy 2000, and they used to have all these nights, where you can go over there and spend $5 for unlimited beer, that kind of stuff. Every night they had some kind of drink special or some kind of crazy shit going on. You ever heard of that penny till you pee thing? Where you can drink for a penny until somebody in the bar urinates. Have you ever heard about this? It's like, so you have like social pressure. There's like massive social pressure to not pee. You heard about this? Soon as the first person urinates, then everything goes back to regular prices. But this is the kind of stuff they used to have over there. But I remember he told us that he went over there one night and it was one of those $5. You pay $5 at the door and then it's just unlimited beer for the rest of the night. I don't know if it was $5, but whatever the amount was. And he said it was Old Milwaukee. I remember he told me. When I hear Old Milwaukee, I think of this story. And he said he drank a whole bunch of it. He just drank throughout the night. And he said he was he said he was in bed that night. And he said he drank all that Old Milwaukee, which is like really, carbonated to the max. One of those cheap American, Pilsners, and he's laying in bed. He just said he's in full asleep, and he said he farted so loud that he woke his mother up and she was down the hall. He woke his mother up farting in the middle of the night. I just remember him telling that story for some reason. I don't know why would I remember something like that, But anyway, Old Milwaukee, I'll test it out. I'll try it out and see. I don't know. I don't know enough. I don't think I've ever had a Schlitz. If I did, it was probably the -- version, the terrible version. So I don't know. I wouldn't know if it tasted the same or not. But if I have an opportunity to buy one can of Old Milwaukee, I'll do it. I'll check it out. And I'll be on the lookout for that, too. And I love your story about Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent, the rock star. That is hilarious. Does not live here. I can hear that happening. We used to get people so wound up, especially those Zitzelburgers I was talking about in the last episode. They get those people so fired up if they're ready to have a stroke or something. So, their brains are going to explode, So, anyway, I can hear that. I love it. Well, you can't do that anymore. And I say crank calls. A lot of people say prank calls. I don't know which is right. But I know what you're talking about. Ted Nugent. The local Ted Nugent. I just want damn Yankees tickets. That's awesome. Thanks, Patrick. You guys call anytime you want. I love it. It helps. It adds to the episodes, and I appreciate it. It's fun. I love it. So you guys call in again. Thanks again to Steve, Chris, and Patrick especially. And if you guys want to join them in the next episode, 570-290-8151. Again, 570-290-8151 is the number. Well, it won't be the next one. It'll be the next one's a Patreon episode. I don't usually put calls in those. It'll be the next one on the main network. So give me a call, and and it's awesome. I love it. So also, if you want 2 of these a week instead of a measly one, patreon.com/JeffK is the place to go. Sign up for a $4 or more monthly donation. You get an extra episode every week. So do it today. If you want to double down on these, we have it all set up for you. Patreon.com/JeffK. And the surfreportpod.com website is up and running. That's where all the show notes. I'll link to some of the insanity that I'll link to that King Charles, as they call him, article from the New York Post. It's fantastic, and it's a breakfast box and all that. So check that out, surfreportpod.com. And I'm going to West Virginia tomorrow. I'm going to try to post this thing tonight, so by the time you hear this, I'm probably going to be on the way. Driving. At least the older boy listens to the same kind of music I do, mostly. he gets a little bit into the Jimi Hendrix and shit. I don't want to hear that, you know. I don't have anything against Jimi Hendrix. I like him in theory. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to sit and listen to like some live recording of him just going on and on. I don't like that kind of shit, you know. But anyway, you know, I can steamroll. He's going to listen to what I want to listen to. That's the way it's going to go. What do you think about that? So, anyway, we're going to drive tomorrow. So, you guys, until next time, which will have to be, I don't know, the Patreon episode probably won't come out until maybe like early next week, because I'm going to be on the road, and I have all kinds of stuff to tell you guys, and I have pictures. Check out my Instagram. I'll link to that too. I'll post pictures up there. All right, we're done. Going on and on and on. You guys have yourselves a fine, fine day. Until next time, which will be over on the Patreon side, you guys have yourselves a fine, fine day. I can't do the ending anymore. I'm like all messed up. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Have a good one. Bye.
Phil Hendrie, 1-800-449-8686.
All right, let's go to Lloyd. Hi, Lloyd. You're on the Phil Hendrie Show. Lloyd, you there, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Phil, is that you?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yes, I enjoy your program very much.
Thank you, sir.
Phil, I'm a little bit surprised that there haven't been many calls about this Ward Cleaver and the horror of what he did up in Oregon. He's been accused of murder and rape and torture.
Ward Cleaver. That's the guy on the Oregon thing?
Yes, sir. This man, it's a little surprising. This is a gentleman who raised two good-looking boys and had been married to his wife, June.
Ward Weaver, I'm being told, is his name. The guy who was arrested?
Yeah, he was on the show Leave It to Cleaver. Leave It to the Cleaver.
No, sir. Ward Weaver is the guy in Oregon. This murderer, this scumbag?
Yes, sir. On that program, Leave It to Weaver.
It's not Leave It to Weaver. The show was called Leave It to Beaver.
That's it. Leave It to Beaver. Leave It to Beaver. And he raised two boys. You know, we used to watch that program.
Well, wait a minute. Before you go off on anything, the guy that they arrested in Oregon is named Ward Weaver. It's not Ward Cleaver.
Yeah, Ward Cleaver's the murderer.
No, it is not the murderer. Ward Cleaver's the guy that was on the TV show.
Leave It to a Cleaver.
Not Leave It to a Cleaver. It was Leave It to Beaver. The guy's name was Ward Cleaver. The guy up in Oregon is named Beaver Cleaver. I mean, the guy
in Oregon's Beaver Cleaver.
No, the guy in Oregon is named Ward Cleaver. The guy who was on the TV show was Beaver Weaver. Who was Beaver? Beaver Cleaver was the kid on the show.
And was Wally put away for murder?
Wally put away for murder? Wally was his older brother. Wally Cleaver, right?
What was the show Leave It to Weavers? The Weavers were a singing group, weren't they?
The Weavers... Okay, look, and I'm sorry I'm raising my voice.
No, but you need to understand that we were big fans of the Cleaver, the Leave It to the Cleaver.
What is up with the Leave It to the Cleaver? Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You were who?
Well, my wife Lois and she passed on.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I am so glad that Lois had that cerebral hemorrhage, because it would break her heart to know that the family she so admired on television, the Leave It to the Beaver, Leave It to a Beaver.
No, it wasn't. See, that's the problem. It's not called Leave It to a Beaver. It was called...
I'm sorry, it's Leave It to Your Beaver.
Leave It to Beaver.
Leave It to Beaver, that's right. And the program was populated by these sick, twisted, and criminal animals headed by this Ward Beaver.
No, Ward Beaver...
That's the guy, Ward Beaver?
No, Ward Beaver was the father. Now, who
was Ward Beaver?
There was no Ward Beaver. The kid's name was Beaver. The father's name was Cleaver. And
the guy in Oregon?
Is Beaver Cleaver.
No, it's...
No, it's Ward Beaver.
No,
Ward Weaver.
That's what... So... Beaver Cleaver wasn't a murderer.
Beaver Cleaver was a kid on TV. Sir, with all due respect, are you, retired?
No, hey, let me tell you what. I'm a Korean War veteran, and my mind is as sharp as a tack. So don't go there. All right.
Well, if you say you're as sharp as a tack, okay, you're
apparently. Hold on. Apparently, the father's on death row right now. Weaver is the father is Beaver Cleaver. That's what I got.
No, the father is the father of this Ward Weaver. There's no Beaver Cleaver.
The hell there wasn't.
Well, there was a Beaver Cleaver.
Now, the other guy is Lumpy Rutherford, who butchered up 6 school children. Or did I get that wrong? Oh, no, that was Ted Bundy.
Well, how can you make that mistake?
Huh?
How do you make the thing between Ted Bundy and Lumpy Rutherford?
Well, I knew one of them was guilty of murdering women.
Oh, yeah, so automatically Lumpy Rutherford must be the guy.
I knew it was either Lumpy Rutherford or Richard Ramirez. I couldn't figure out.
Jesus.
Now, you remember, Phil, the guy who killed Sharon Tate, Whitey?
Charles Manson.
Oh, okay. I keep getting them confused.
Let me ask you a question. How do you confuse Whitey with Charles Manson?
Well, I knew that Eddie Haskell ran a gang out of Texas with Otis Toole.
Eddie Haskell?
Yeah, he was a notorious serial murderer.
You know what, pal? Go put some flowers on your dead wife's grave.
Hey. Don't start treating me like I'm some senile old fool just because I said the show is called Leave It to Someone's Beaver. Because
the program... Okay. Thank you very much for your call.
Oh, you're just an ageist.
Yeah, that's right. I'm you know...
You're racist.
Yeah, that's me. Okay. Ward Weaver's the guy in Oregon. Ward Cleaver was the dad. Beaver Cleaver was the kid. The show's called Leave It to Beaver. And Lumpy Rutherford wasn't the one that killed all those women. It was Ted Bundy. Hi, you're on the Phil Hendrie Show. RC.
Yes, sir. I wanted to call in and clarify some of the comments of the previous caller. Lumpy Rutherford never killed no women. That was Ted Bundy.
Yes, thank you.
But a lot of people make that mistake.
Yeah, sure, that's right. Famous serial killers. Was it? Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't Lumpy Rutherford. It was Ted Bundy.
Yeah, and Eddie Haskell was in Alice Cooper.
Okay.